Thanks for joining us in this webinar series, which is the 10th webinar of this series, Journey to Safety. And the topic for today is role of corporates in road safety. And we have our esteemed guest with us. So Mr. Ivy Rao, our board supervisory member at IRSC, is the host for the session. Then we have Mr. PK Banerjee, who is Executive Director, SIAM, and he is the moderator for the session. And then we have our honorable speakers with us. So Ms Ekta Kumar from Shell is one of the speakers, and then we have Mr. Ramashankar Pandey, who is MD India Lighting Ltd. So he is also here with us, and he is one of the speakers for this topic, role of corporates in road safety. And it's 4 p.m. and Mr. Ivy Rao is joining in, and he'll take another minute. So by the time we'll just go ahead and we'll start this session. So my name is Dipanshu. I lead this organization called Indian Road Safety Campaign, and we have been working in road safety for last 5 years, and many of you who are here today have been supporting us for last 4-5 years since we started, and it's a pleasure to have you all here with us in this webinar today. And today's session is on role of corporates in road safety. Prior to this, we have had many sessions, almost 9 sessions. We have completed 9 sessions, and we have had speakers from various backgrounds. We have had speakers from bureaucracy. We have had speakers from United Nations. We have had speakers from WHO. So it's a pleasure to host this session today, wherein we have 2 corporate leaders with us. And because it's very important, in last webinar, what we discussed is that how India can achieve the vision of reducing accidents by half by 2030 to half by 2030. And Dr. Etin Krug, who is Director WHO and the key lead person for road safety across the globe. So he kindly agreed for the session, and he joined us for the session. Before that, we have had sessions wherein we discussed about multi-stakeholder approach on road safety and data-driven approach on road safety. And then we have also had the pleasure to host Mr. Abhay Damle, ex-Joint Secretary, Minister of Road Transport and Highways, and he is the person who has led transport in India for Minister of Road Transport and Highways for almost 5 years. So a huge experience. And then we have speakers from ARAI to discuss vehicle engineering and automotive components. So it's an absolute pleasure to host this session today, wherein we discuss about role of corporates in road safety. Because as we discussed about a multi-stakeholder approach and a shared approach in road safety, we need to understand who all are the stakeholders and what is the roles and responsibility of every stakeholder. That is very important for us while we discuss a multi-stakeholder approach. So as we discussed today, role of corporates in road safety. So herein, all these corporate leaders would be kind enough to share their experience as in their perspective, how a corporate can promote road safety, and individually, and as well as a whole institution itself. So I'll just check it. Check if your mic is
Can you hear me? This is Banerjee here.
Yeah, good evening, sir. You're audible.
Hi, Ekta here.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Thank you.
Hello, Dipanshu. Hello, everybody. Is it fine?
Yes, it's working fine.
Hi, Ekta.
Hi, sir.
So Mr. Ivy Rao is joining in a minute, and he's already joined in actually. Perfect. So yes.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Hi, PK. Hi, Ramakant.
Hi.
Hi, Ekta.
Hi, I'm Mr. Rao.
Hi.
So, sir, we can begin.
Yeah. Good afternoon, friends. Thanks, Dipanshu, for the initial comments. I'm very happy to be here hosting this webinar on role of corporates in road safety. I welcome you all on behalf of IRSC for this episode in webinar series being organized by IRSC every week on Sunday. I had been following the series of webinars and with eminent personalities expressing their views and on such a important subject like road safety. As you all know, India is a signatory to Brasilia Declaration, through which we are committed to reduce the accident numbers by half during 2010 to 20. However, in spite of various actions which have been taken, the numbers have doubled. And implementing road safety in India needs a change in mindset, moving from reactive to proactive approach. And we had been discussing for the last 10 years about 5 pillars for road safety, and which include building better road infrastructure, broader transport networks, developing safer vehicles, enhancing behavior of the road users, and improving post-crash response. We have some progress in all these areas, but still we are not able to translate this into reduction in accident fatalities. I personally believe we need to work on human behavior aspects to bring in the change in human response to all these issues. Now coming to today's focus, all corporates hold immense power and influence in all domains. So it is very important for all corporates to put forward a solution to address this serious problem. Most of the corporates have well-established system to address social issues to fulfill their social responsibilities. All corporates do have certain funds meant to be spent for such social causes. Their involvement to promote road safety and bring out a change is crucial. Only the collective efforts of all the corporates can help us to move from what we have to what it should be for road safety. Today, we have very eminent personalities from our industry, Mr. P.K. Banerjee, Mr. Ramashankar Pandey, and Mrs. Ekta, to talk about role of corporates in road safety. Mr. P.K. Banerjee, who is from Tata Motors and presently with the Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers, and Mr. Ramashankar Pandey is MD of Hella India. They are both very good friends of mine and ex-colleagues in auto industry. And we also have with us Ms Ekta from Shell. She is from their CSR group. Both Ramakant and P.K. Banerjee have done a lot of work in this area of road safety. And Ekta has worked on different initiatives for Shell as part of their safety drive under their CSR activities. With this, I now request Mr. P.K. Banerjee to moderate this panel discussion on role of corporates in road safety. I also request Mr. P.K. Banerjee to also talk about various activities and projects initiated by SIAM in this field. Over to you, P.K. Banerjee.
Thank you, Rao-san, and welcome to all the participants and speakers to the IRC webinar entitled Role of Corporates and Road Safety. Representing Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers, I think it's my privilege and honor to be associated with road safety cause, which is very close to my heart, as well as my society is committed to the goals of Government of India to reduce road fatalities, because the importance of reduction of road fatalities is known to all of you. I think representing 50 member companies of across the globe, automobile manufacturers, both from Japan, Europe, America, and indigenous manufacturers, comprising of two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, commercial vehicle, bus categories, and the kind of reach Mr. Rao spoke about, the commitment of the corporate, the role of corporate to the road safety cause is very integral. The advancement or the development of today's corporate has happened on the three pillars. One is man, machine, and material, or you say on three P's, which we call it as people, product, and processes. And wherever we stand today, these three pillars have defined the shape of the corporate today and the society we live in. And there, the starting of the importance of safety started with the very, very interesting aspect of improving the resource efficiency, improving the performance. And that's how you will see gradually that from the logistic of procurement of parts to manufacturing in the production line to dispatch of the vehicle, in the entire product life cycle, if you see, the safety itself has become the very, very paramount, premise on which the corporate has developed. And that's where the road safety has come into automatically in foray. Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers are committed to the cause of road safety. It's an irony for all of us that COVID numbers of death have in India not crossed 5,000, but all of us are sitting at home for the last 3 months. Whereas the reality is for so many years, 150,000 deaths every year is happening, but nobody seems to be taken cognizance of this reduction. And that's where the importance of this webinar topic comes in. So I'm very pleased that being a part of Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers, we created another society which is dedicated, that's called SAFE. The SAFE full form is Society of Automotive Fitness and Environment. So the very intent of SIAM was to create SAFE so that we can provide a kind of platform which will dedicatedly engage all the stakeholders on those 4 or 5 E's which we talked about: engineering, education, emergency care, and of course, we are talking about the focus on drivers training, the institutions, how you provide them the learning. So there actually SAFE has been engaged with each state. Every year we have annual conferences where we engage with particular state, and then our membership actually engages with the state government, transport department, RTOs, and then we try to develop what best solution we can have for drivers training institutes, for the educations, for fitness of the vehicles, for inspection of the vehicle, maintenance of the vehicles, and thereby certification of the vehicle. So inspection, maintenance, certification, and taking care of the vehicles upkeep by educating the people, by educating the driver how to behave on the road. Also, we have gone into the education part. Education part means catch them young. From schools, SIAM is engaged through SAFE, teaching school children how to have the traffic rules well understood by them. Now, as today many participants are engineering college participants, Through SAE also, we are doing a lot of programs wherein road safety initiatives for improving the knowledge about how to keep the vehicle in safe conditions, how to regularly go for maintenance, what should be the driver behavior, and of course the technology interventions we are looking for. So today I'm very happy that we have two very prominent face available here as a speaker, Mr. Ramashankar Pandey, who is the managing director of HELA, and he is a crusader basically. If you see his profile, he has been engaged towards the cause of road safety day in, day out. And he has been able to mobilize the masses, as well as he has been able to create a kind of passion across the country through different initiatives. Today, he is also heading the ACMA Road Safety Initiative. He is the chairman of the committee. So Mr. Ramashankar's presence will be very helpful for us to understand how corporate can make the difference in improving the road safety. This is one hand of the, OEMs and manufacturing unit. But we have another example, because it's an integrated world, and auto industry is a very integrated industry. So in supply chain, if you look, the wheels of auto industry moves because of the oil, because of the fuel. So to represent that part, we have Ekta Kumar. She is representing Shell, and Shell is a global organization, MNC, has a very deep root on corporate governance, and safety has been the integral part of their ethos. So she will talk about the importance of what corporates can do for bringing the culture of safety in our day-to-day life. So it's my very privilege that every aspect of our life, corporate have tried to touch in. Just to mention, if you see Maruti's effort to put from Dhaula Kuan to Ring Road, the cameras for ensuring that people are observing the discipline. If you see the initiatives of Tata and Mahindra's on Mumbai-Pune highways, like that, if you see what adoption of different roads member companies have taken, be it in Delhi, Sonipat, or in Mysore, Bangalore, everywhere corporates have been actually, SIAM member companies have been engaged towards the cause of improving road safety. And I'm very proud that these road safety initiatives have been very nicely divided into product engineering. There we are today seeing the products are absolutely crash worthy. They have an offset frontal crash, they have a side frontal crash, full frontal crash requirements. We have ABS. We have all kinds of advanced occupant safety as well as pedestrian safety requirements put in the vehicles. One side is the product engineering, another side is road engineering. The third side is education, and then of course emergency care. And so I'm very proud that today in this webinar, we will be able to hear and deliberate and discuss the role of corporate, how to improve road safety. So without much further ado, I would like to invite Ekta Kumar to talk about Shell contributions and Shell culture to improve road safety, and her experiences that what more corporates can do. Ekta, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. Thank you, Mr. Rao. Thank you, Dipanshu. Is there a feedback from my voice?
Yes.
Let me just get rid of my Bluetooth. Just give me a second, please.
It's fine now.
Was it
fine now?
Fine now? Okay, clear. And thank you, IRSC, for this opportunity to share more about what corporates can do under road safety. But most importantly, a big thank you for all the participants who are dialing in today to listen in to us. That just strengthens the fact for us that you are interested in making our roads safer, and you're together with us in this journey. And we need all and everyone to be with us in this journey. Otherwise, India's roads are not going to get safer just by corporates or just by the government doing its bit. Broadly, I think it's already been touched upon. As Mr. Banerjee said and Mr. Rao said, we have 150,000 deaths a year in India on India's roads. And by the time we finish this webinar in another hour, 17 people would have died on India's roads. Now, what's important to reflect is that what impact does this have? You lose a breadwinner of the family, you lose a productive employee of a company. For corporates like us, it also means loss of productivity, as in it doesn't just mean that we have, uh, you know, invested in that employee and grooming that employee, but it also means that, when we've lost that employee, we've lost that talent forever in the organization. And last but not the least, as an economy, it's approximately 3% of our GDP. That's a lot, right? As in 3% of our GDP just because of road accidents. Now, what can exactly corporates do to improve all of this, or what are they doing today, is what I'm going to kind of share with you today. And I'm going to begin the conversation by saying, I'm going to focus on three areas that corporates are generally focused on. The first is on their own employee safety. The second one is on, safely transporting their goods and services and, equipment. And last but not the least, all corporates recognize that they're only as safe as the environment. So how do they make the environment safer? Now, if I were to look back at my journey as an employee with Shell, which I started some 12 years ago as as my fourth employer in my corporate life, I was greeted with a form that I needed to be filled, which asked me to fill in details of my car. I filled the model name of my car and I left all the other spaces blank and just moved on. I was sent back to fill up the rest of the spaces in the form, asking, exactly which year did I buy it? Does it have ABS? Does it have airbags? Does it have all the other necessary safety features? I found it a bit intrusive when I was doing all that, and also a little annoying because I had to go and check my papers to find out exactly what all my car had. But only later on to realize that this was the care that the corporate extended to all its employees. They were very categorical that the cars that we traveled in, even from our own house to office, had to have certain specifications so that we were all safe. They're very categorical that it should not be more than 5 to 7 years old. And they ensured that within the first 2 weeks of joining, I'd done the defensive driving course and I was driving safely or safer than I used to earlier on the roads of the city. Extending this conversation as an employee, even when we do the onboarding of any other guest who comes to our organization, we have this 12 life-saving rules. And out of these 12 life-saving rules, 3 of them, which you might be able to see on your screens, are related to road safety. Now, that's the culture that we are building, and that's not just specific to Shell. That's a culture that I know that most MNCs today have adopted. When you go to their offices, they insist on a safety briefing. They insist that their employees follow the simple rules of wearing a seatbelt, wearing the helmet, not talking on the mobile when driving, etc. So this is just a culture that you can permeate across millions of people by being a corporate, and then that becomes a part of your DNA. So I think something that I take away very, strongly from this whole coronavirus incident that's happening for all of us. It's a pandemic which has taught us to wash our hands, use the sanitizer, use the mask, and we're all adapting to it and so naturally taking to it. It's a similar pandemic of, or rather epidemic of road safety that is there in India today. But however, we're not that sensitive. We still don't recognize or feel the need to wear a seatbelt. We still don't feel that, the helmet is important and it's for our own heads. It's not for that policeman or it's not for that traffic constable. It's for our own lives that we're wearing it. It's important to focus on the road and not talk on the mobile. And I wish that we can, as a united, citizens and corporates group, make it something that we adopt and take along with us going forward. Not because you heard me in this session, but because you've been through a pandemic and you realize the importance of, the role that each stakeholder plays in every journey. Moving on to the second part. So this was the part that I spent with you explaining about what do corporates do for their own employee safety. Now the second part, what do they do for their goods transport safety? They do a lot in that direction as well. As in, one of the things that we all know is that technology has now made many advances. We can track the driver's journey very easily. So be it with the GPS or simple systems like the IVMS, etc., we know whether the driver is doing harsh acceleration, harsh braking, etc. Multiple corporates across the country have adopted driver management centers, have adopted this technology, and are rewarding the employee, or rather the drivers, if they're driving safely. So whether it's a third party contract or it's your own fleet, broadly as a corporate, if you've made it a culture that there's a reward for being safer on the roads, for not harsh acceleration, for not harsh speeding, then you will not, as in you will be rewarded for it and not punished for taking more time and taking more time with your journey. That is a culture that only corporates can spread. That's not something that can happen automatically from the fleets organization or from the truckers association. It's something that needs to come from the corporates, and a whole host of corporates are doing their bit in this direction as well. Last but not the least, as I said, we are only as safe as our environment. And to make the environment safer, there are again a whole host of corporates spending a lot of money in CSR, road safety, and I'm one amongst them. A couple of programs that we run, we've actually done a targeted, effort that we're saying that we're not going to be trying to address all the problems, but we're going to try and address 75% of the segment that gets impacted by road accidents. So one segment is commercial drivers or truck drivers, which means essentially 26% of the fatalities on the road are of commercial drivers. And the second segment that we are looking at is that how do we make the millennials safer? Not sure if all of you know this, but a very sad statistics. Road safety is one among the top 3 leading causes of deaths of millennials today. And the other top leading cause is suicides, which again is a reality that we are all facing. So can we not avoid these road accidents? Can't we all be a little safer? Yes, part of the ownership is on us, and part of the ownership is the government, the corporates, and all other stakeholders. As corporates, I can share with you what Shell has been doing. So one of the programs that we've been successfully running for the last 2 years is around commercial drivers eye camps, free eye camps, where we do a free checkup and give them free glasses. Because of this program, we've touched approximately 2 lakh drivers, and it's an astonishing, or rather a startling, statistic for me, that 67% of the drivers that came to our camps walked out with spectacles. That means 67% of them could not see well. And then we did a bit of a, outcome impact survey as well. So we did a survey before they took the specs and then went back to them 3 months later, only to find out that 1 in 4 could not even see 20 to 30 meters ahead. Which means if you can't see 20 to 30 meters ahead, you can't see traffic signs, you can't see the lights of the other vehicle, and you're a big menace on the road. Now that's our little bit, but there are many others. Like Mr. Banerjee also mentioned, Mahindras have adopted the entire stretch of Mumbai, Pune, and doing their bit to make it, safer. They're looking at all the blind spots over there and other interventions to make it safer. Maruti for years has invested in CSR and road safety. And not only have they taken up this stretch of, the Dhola one that Sir was mentioning, but also they've taken up other indices that they publish on cities to tell them how safe are you, how safe are your roads, so that the administration can do something about it. Now, this is the 3 interventions that corporates have been involved in and can do more. There's a lot being done, but I think there's an opportunity to do more. And when I say that there's an opportunity to do more, I'm going to just highlight the other side of the coin as well. Because as my job is here not to just tell you what good we are doing, but I'm also here to tell you where there is a gap. Now the gap, for example, not all corporates reward their drivers for safe driving. There are many incentives that are based on time. If you reach the destination in so much time, I will pay you an X amount. If you can do more journeys in a day, so if it's like a small milk run, which they're doing, 5 journeys in a day, if they do it carefully, they tend to do 6 to 7, and they tend to make more money because it is based on each run, right? There's a huge opportunity over there for the corporates to change the way they remunerate their employees. The word for me over here is really ecosystem. Change the ecosystem. There is no point in training your drivers. There is no point in telling them to wear safety, seat belts and helmets, while at the end of the day, there is no reward for doing that. If you're not rewarding them, incentivizing them, if the insurance companies don't say that if you're safer, if I see from your GPS records that you're a safer driver, my insurance money will go down. Why will somebody do it? All of them want to get the route out of the way. They will just rush, they will just speed. So the ecosystem today does not honestly promote safety. But in random spurts, we see a lot of information coming our way that you should do this. As a driver, you should go through this training. As a corporate, you should do this. But as an ecosystem, we've not really come together to address this issue. So I think my final few words on this would be there are two things we need to do as corporates and individuals. And I'm stressing on this word individuals because we can't do it alone. First is collaborate among stakeholders. We are all stakeholders in this journey and we need to collaborate and make this happen. No one can do it alone. If I don't wear my seatbelt, I can't hold the government or the corporate responsible for any accident or any fatality. And the second one that we need to do is that we need to take ownership. We need to all understand that we need to do it together, and charity begins at home. If we don't do it, if we don't follow it, there's no way our child, there's no way our parents, there's no way others will follow through. That's it from me for today. Passing it back to you, Mr. Banerjee.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ekta, for your very, very informative insights into the aspects of people, product, and process. If you look at the product is the first low-hanging fruit which government has, adopted for improvement. And in the product, the active safety part, the passive safety part, the lighting part have been, making a tremendous progress in our vehicles. Our vehicles are today now at par with the global standards. So in this aspect, the product is there. But when it comes to the mindset, the education, the awareness, the process, the traffic, the signals, the discipline, I think this is another important aspect which is getting highlighted by the training, the center of, drivers training run by many of our corporates, and of course, the education which is being imparted at every level by corporates through their own, set of stakeholders, but also outside in society. All these combinations of 3P, if you want to hear from anyone, then no one is better in India today than Mr. Ramashankar Pandey, MD Hella Lighting, who is actually spearheading these road safety initiatives in different ways. And you will love to hear him. And Mr. Pandey, I'm sure you will be able to, lighten up this webinar discussion with your very, very thoughtful speech. Over to you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Banerjee. From my side, if I look at, first of all, thanks to Mr. Rao and Mr. Banerjee, all senior guys. So I still feel blessed when I get a lot of engagement and advice from all of you. Sometimes I kind of, I have a crush on some of you, the way you get into community leadership. And this is what also is shaping me personally, like as Ekta said, other than corporates, individually who we are and what we want to do is equally important, sometimes even more important. What are our internal personal passions? So I will first of all endorse what Ekta said, and I will take the thread from there, what she said regarding collaboration. And I think nothing better than Corona, which taught us, which says, I always use this phrase called, you are, therefore I am, which means we always keep the other road user in the center. If that road user is safe, I'll be safe. This is one area which is Corona has proven so well, that you are safe only when the last guy is safe. As long as others are not safe, you are also not safe. Corona exposed this quite well. And I think this is parallel to what road death also does. And what Ekta said, it's a collaboration. Otherwise, the weakest link is where the problem is. Even when we make the best of the cars and best of the vehicles, standard has gone world class. Today, India is on the world class standard. How does it work if the behavior and other things are not? So the weak point is very important. Coming back to the role of corporate, road safety is a serious business. If anybody has any doubt on that and they think road safety is a charity, I would like to take it away. I think this is a big fallacy and myth. Everybody thinks road safety is a charity. It's a social, kind of a campaign. Road safety is a serious business. And corporates are in the business of business, which means corporates have integral role in road safety. and in all end-to-end value chain of road safety. When I'm saying that, I mean in India specifically, we have actually not understood what corporates do or what businesses do. Because of the history of East India Company or whatever, the respect to a businessman in our country is very low. And this is vice versa. This is giving us a cycle. Now, a businessman is understood only by making profits. It is not understood that corporates and business exist to solve a problem, to actually create value. So you can do it alone. In past, it was entrepreneur like an individual person. Slowly we got organized, we became a business and then large businesses. India still 90% job is covered by the small MSMEs, which are the small businesses. Now, small businesses have a large role to play. And when I'm talking now, I'm not talking about corporates, which are like Maruti, Hero, Hella, Cell. I think all of are doing excellent job. But we have to get back to the weak link. India is a huge scale. And if you have to go to that scale, the first myth we have to break is corporates are also societies. Corporates are not different than the society. To solve a problem, corporates create a value, and that's why we need to integrate. And what Ekta said, collaboration means first we understand the character of different stakeholders. Corporates have everything to do with road safety. But the problem in our country is that most of us professionals also, we solve all public problem privately. Why? Because we don't want to risk. So if my kid has to take cross a road and I don't think it is safe, I will take a car and take a U-turn and drop to the school because I'm solving it privately. It's enough. I think most of us have been doing it. Corona has taught us whatever we do, if the public system doesn't work, nothing will work. And that is why the role of corporate has to come out of the boundary now and really go end to end in this road safety. Now, while I'm saying that, private and public separation has to go away. It has to go away for corporates and also for all of us. I think in the audience, some people requested me to go in Hindi, so I will try to also put in Hindi. As a summary, मैं ये बोल रहा था कि corporate society से अलग नहीं है, society का part है, और अगर हमें corporate को देखना है तो charity के रूप में ना देखें. In fact, मेरे लिए as Hela, road safety has never been a CSR topic. In fact, for us, we build the whole company as a social entrepreneurship. What is social entrepreneurship? When you do a business to solve a social problem, it becomes social entrepreneurship. जब आप एक business करते हैं एक problem को solve करने के लिए, तो उसको social entrepreneurship बोलते हैं. तो वो CSR तक limited नहीं रहता है. वो आपकी company का DNA बन जाता है. Just as an example, I'll tell you that we put a vision statement. Company का जो vision statement हमने बनाया, वो बोलता है technology of tomorrow for the life of today. हमने क्या किया? टेक्नोलॉजी लेके आई और आप देखते होंगे सड़क के ऊपर ट्रकों में टेल लाइट नहीं जलता है और हम लोग ट्रकों के अंदर चले जाते हैं. छोटी सी चीज है, कुछ 100 रुपए ज्यादा खर्च करने थे OEMs को. हम लोगों ने इनिशिएटिव लिया, टाटा मोटर्स, अशोक लीलैंड, महिंद्रा, एवरीबॉडी, सब ने मदद की. आज जितनी भी गाड़ियां आपको अब आएगी वो फेल सेफ आएगी, सब LED पे कन्वर्ट हो गई है. जितनी नई गाड़ियां आपको मिलेगी, हिंदुस्तान का एक इतना बड़ा प्रॉब्लम हम लोगों ने मिलकर सॉल्व किया. तो कॉर्पोरेट इसको बिजनेस भी बना सकता है और कोई इसमें कोई कोताही नहीं बरतनी चाहिए. क्योंकि स्टूडेंट काफी यहाँ पे है. अगर ओला और उबर ट्रांसपोर्ट की प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर रहा है, अगर इंडिगो फ्लाइट और एयर ट्रैवल की डिस्टेंस सॉल्व कर रहा है, आप लोगों को मैं इंकरेज करूंगा, आप स्टार्टअप्स लेके और बिजनेस करो रोड सेफ्टी की. इसमें हेजिटेट क्या करना है? हमें अगर बिहेवियर चेंज करना है और वो तभी होगा जब एक सस्टेनेबल लार्ज बिजनेसेस आएंगे तो हमें करना पड़ेगा. अदरवाइज वो चैरिटी मोड में स्केल अप नहीं हो पाएगा. इंडिया इज सच ए लार्ज कंट्री. हम क्या कर सकते हैं एज ए कॉर्पोरेट? जैसे एकता ने कहा, पूरी इकोसिस्टम में हम काम कर सकते हैं. हम ड्राइवर रेटिंग कर सकते हैं, ड्राइवर ट्रेनिंग कर सकते हैं, बिहेवियर चेंज कर सकते हैं. एकता ने कहा 67% लोग अंधे होकर गाड़ी चला रहे थे. दिस इज ट्रू. कहीं भी जो सैंपल साइज आया वही आया है. क्यों? क्योंकि हमारे मिथ बहुत है. मिथ क्या है? रोड सेफ्टी साइंस नहीं है. रोड सेफ्टी क्या है? आप ज्योतिष को दिखा दो, एक्सीडेंट एक लक है ना? कुछ नहीं तो नींबू मिर्ची लगा दो. आपको पता है, मैं देख रहा था गूगल पे 56 लाख लोग इंडिया में नींबू मिर्ची बेचने में लगे हुए हैं. कैन यू इमेजिन? कैन यू इमेजिन? सो हमें इतना बड़ा मिथ तोड़ना इतना आसान नहीं है. हम सबको लगना पड़ेगा, एक अलग लेवल का कोलैबोरेशन लाना पड़ेगा. जैसे हमने पोलियो में लिया था. पोलियो में क्या किया हम लोगों ने? पोलियो को साइंस बनाया. आज चाइल्ड मोर्टेलिटी इंडिया में कम हुई. क्यों? क्योंकि गांव के अंदर में उसको जादू टोना दाई माँ उसको घर पे ही डिलीवरी कराते थे. आज हर औरत को पता है, हर लेडी को पता है कि हमें जाना है मेडिकल फैसिलिटी में। तो वो बदला ना, हमारे देश में बदला, चाइल्ड मोर्टेलिटी कम आया, लेकिन रोड डेथ बढ़ता ही जा रहा है। और इतना पैथेटिक सिचुएशन इसलिए है क्योंकि हमें रोड यूजर लेवल पे इसको बदलना है। तो मेरी रिक्वेस्ट ये होगी कि हम जो कॉर्पोरेट हैं, एक तो हम लोग चैरिटी जो कर रहे हैं, CSR कर रहे हैं, वो करें, बट हमें बहुत कॉर्पोरेट और बिजनेसेस चाहिए कि आप आओ और टेक्नोलॉजी का इनोवेशन करो, साथ में बिहेवियर चेंज, रोड ऑडिट। और आज हमारे यहाँ सबसे तकलीफ की बात है, गडकरी जी भी जब हम लोग स्वीडन गए थे ग्लोबल मिनिस्ट्रियल कॉन्फ्रेंस में, सबने एक्सेप्ट किया हिंदुस्तान के अंदर सबसे बड़ी इशू एक तो बिहेवियर और इन्फोर्समेंट की है, क्योंकि जब अरबों लोग रूल को तोड़े हैं, और आपको पता है 80,000 ट्रैफिक पुलिस है, क्या करेगा? कुछ नहीं करेगा। अगर कश्मीर में सब पत्थर फेंक रहा है और आर्मी लिमिटेड है तो हम लोग बात करते हैं, यहाँ पे जब अरबों लोग तोड़ेगा तो कौन कंट्रोल करेगा? नहीं कर सकते। हमें मिल के करना पड़ेगा और इसके लिए हमें अपने अंदर बदलाव लाना पड़ेगा। तो एक तो हम कंपनी के दीवार के अंदर इकोसिस्टम का टेक केयर करेंगे, हम सब कर रहे हैं, पर इसको लेके जाना पड़ेगा छोटी छोटी कंपनियों में, 10 लोगों के कंपनियों में, स्मॉल स्मॉल बिजनेसेस में, तभी जाके हो पाएगा। एक सेल, एक हेला, एक टाटा मोटर्स, एक मारुति सुजुकी नहीं कर पाएगा। हमें अपनी बाउंड्री के बाहर निकलना पड़ेगा, नंबर 1। दूसरा, जहां तक डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट का है, प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च करके आई थिंक ऑटोमोटिव इंडस्ट्री बहुत अच्छी करी है। फिकी में चूंकि मैं चेयरमैन हूं रोड सेफ्टी कमेटी के, CIM में टास्क फोर्स मेंबर, मैं बात कर रहा हूं दूसरी कंपनियों से ऑटोमोटिव के बाहर, वो बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं। आज गूगल अगर गूगल मैप बना सकता है तो गूगल ये भी मैप बना सकता है कि कौन सा ब्लैक स्पॉट है, ये भी बोल सकता है कि कहाँ पे सेफ रखने के लिए हमें कितना धीरे जाना चाहिए। पर क्या गूगल कर रहा है? हम लोगों को ये प्रेशर बिल्ड करना पड़ेगा। क्या सरकार ये कर रही है? तो ये जो स्टेक होल्डर मैनेजमेंट है, एक बड़ा टॉपिक है, हमें बाहर निकल के करना पड़ेगा। और मेरे ख्याल से ये 1-to-1 टॉक में नहीं होगा, वी हैव टू बिल्ड प्रेशर। मैं दीपांशु को बोलूंगा, एक वीडियो है छोटा सा, अगर वो प्ले करे यूट्यूब पे, हमें ये देखना पड़ेगा कि कॉर्पोरेट को अपनी चौहद्दी के बाहर निकल के, कोरोना ने हमें क्या सिखाया? एक ऐसी प्रॉब्लम जो वर्क लाइफ को मिक्स करती है। कोरोना इज नॉट ओनली विद इन आवर कंपनीज, इट इज अराउंड, वर्क और लाइफ मिक्स हो गया। ठीक उसी तरह हमें इसको मिक्स करना पड़ेगा। तो आप और हम दोनों के लिए अगर ये चैलेंज है तो ये एक अपॉर्चुनिटी भी है, लेकिन स्टेक होल्डर्स को साथ में लाने के लिए कोलैबोरेशन करना पड़ेगा। और हमारे कंट्री में कोलैबोरेशन का बहुत बड़ा इशू, आज एकता, हम, बनर्जी साहब, राव साहब, दीपांशु, हम सब एक साथ काम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन ये इतने लोगों से नहीं होगा। हम जहां भी जाते हैं वही चेहरे काम कर रहे हैं। हम क्यों नहीं इस क्लब को एक्सपैंड कर सकते हैं? क्यों नहीं हमारे वॉलंटियर बेस लाखों में हो सकते हैं? आज जितने स्टूडेंट यहाँ पे हैं, हम क्यों नहीं इसको घर घर में पोलियो की तरह लेके जा सकते है ना? दीपांशु, यू आर रेडी विद दैट वीडियो?
50 लाख लोगों का एक समूह बन रहा है जो कुछ पूरा हमारे देश का बड़ा आज हम लोग यहाँ से आगाज करें
Do you want?
Yeah, can you close it now?
Yeah.
I think we can see the videos on YouTube also. This was just a kind of a glimpse and example that what we're expecting from corporate and businesses is on a CSR level, but I guess where we have to go is much different because the weak point is somewhere else. It's on behavior. We are safe only when every road user, the last guy, is safe. And for that, we have to get out of our boundaries and comfort zones. We have to come on road because road safety has to happen on roads. And all element of road safety has to be bound together. This can only happen, ये तभी हो सकता है जो हम साथ चलें. हमारी समस्या क्या है? हम सब लोग कहीं ना कहीं दो चीज में फंसे हुए हैं. एक, हम जो अच्छा करते हैं हम उसी में लग जाते हैं, तो हमें एक डायरेक्शन नहीं मिला कि रूट कॉज क्या है. तो रोड सेफ्टी में एक डेटा का इशू है जो हम लोग सॉल्व करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. दूसरा, इससे पहले कि कोई इनिशिएटिव लेता है हम उसको क्रिटिसाइज करने लगते हैं, क्योंकि हमारे देश में कोलैबोरेशन की बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है. हमें इस दोनों सिंड्रोम से बाहर निकलना पड़ेगा. मैं आपको बताता हूँ, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडस्ट्री में एक और एक्सीडेंट का बहुत बड़ा कारण पहले हुआ करता था, फैक्ट्री एक्सीडेंट. आज वो नियर जीरो क्यों आया और कैसे आया? हमें क्यों नहीं उससे सीख लेनी चाहिए? अगर हर फैक्ट्री के ऑपरेटर्स और वर्कर ने अपनी जगह सीख ली, एटीट्यूड बदला, अप्रोच बदला, तो क्या बाहर नहीं हो सकता है? हमें लीडरशिप देना पड़ेगा बिजनेसेस को, कॉर्पोरेट्स को, कि क्या वो आगे आके इस आंदोलन को सड़कों पे क्यों नहीं ला सकते हैं. एक अच्छी चीज हुई है कोरोना में, लोग बहुत दुखी हैं कि माइग्रेंट लेबर गांव चले गए. मुझे तो एक उसमें अच्छाई दिख रही है कि जितने माइग्रेंट लेबर अभी गांव गए हैं ये सब थोड़े एजुकेटेड हैं, थोड़े बेहतर हैं. कॉर्पोरेट्स में बहुत इन्वेस्टमेंट किया है. वो जब वहां जाएंगे और जब देखेंगे गलत चीज तो वो बताएंगे कि अरे ऐसे नहीं, ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं. मुझे उम्मीद है कि जो 1/3 माइग्रेंट लेबर गांव में रुक जाएंगे वो रोड सेफ्टी में बदलाव ला सकते हैं, वो बड़े वॉलेंटियर बन सकते हैं. दीपांशु, एकता, बनर्जी साहब, हम लोगों को मिलकर ना उनको टैप करना चाहिए. जो लोग भी इस वेबिनार में हैं और जिनको लगता है इनिशिएटिव लेनी चाहिए, हमें जरूर करना चाहिए. With this, I think I thank Mr. Banerjee to give me opportunity. Dipanshu, thanks a lot for IRSC. I think we are just going ahead with collaboration. It doesn't matter which platform we are speaking, but whether it is India Against Road Crash, IRSC, we all are coming together, and that's a very good starting point for the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramashankar Pandey, for your interesting, depth on this road safety issue. I think current situation where we are in, how we can, further improve, how we can increase the corporate, contributions, participation, and influence towards the cause of road safety. So I would like to just request Ekta if she can share that how the culture of, road safety was built in the organization, particularly Shell India, because Shell India is, issue of local mindset, indigenous, challenges. So how the culture was built, what kind of challenges you faced, and what are the opportunities you could create for creating a kind of safety culture within the organization?
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee, for this question. It's a really good question. तो मैं कोशिश करूंगी कि अब हिंदी में जवाब दूं because I really liked रामाशंकर जी talking in हिंदी. तो एक चीज जो हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में होती है वो है गोल जीरो. एट अ ग्लोबल लेवल। मतलब वो हमें ग्लोबल की देन है कि गोल जीरो, एक भी फैटेलिटी नहीं होनी चाहिए, एक भी डेथ नहीं होनी चाहिए। एंड ये गोल जीरो जो है, ये जीरो हम ये रिकग्नाइज करते हैं कि वाइल दुनिया को लगता होगा कि गड्ढा खोदना और तेल निकालना शायद बहुत रिस्की काम है, बट हमारे यहाँ सबसे ज्यादा फेटालिटी तेल को ट्रांसपोर्ट करने में होता है, ना कि गड्ढा खोद के तेल निकालने में। So the biggest fatalities that we've seen, and the challenges that we've seen in achieving goal zero is in transport and not in refining or digging for the oil. अब वो जब हमें मिला, अब उसको आप इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में जब आप रखते हैं, तो पहले तो हमें लगता है कि गोल जीरो कुछ बहुत एम्बिशियस है, राइट? एज एन इट्स अ नेचुरल थिंग कि यहाँ पे तो मतलब इतनी कॉम्प्लिकेशन है, एनवायरनमेंट ऐसा है, ये है वो है। वहां पे पूरी बात आ जाती है लीडरशिप की और कॉन्सिक्वेंस मैनेजमेंट की। हमारे लीडर्स बहुत कमिटेड हैं इसको। मतलब अगर आप देखें, अगर आज की डेट में सरकार बहुत कमिटेड है तो इंश्योर कि कोरोना वायरस आज नहीं फैले। उन्होंने 2 महीने के लिए इकोनॉमी को नहीं देखा, पूरा लॉकडाउन कर दिया। अगर वही लीडरशिप उस कमिटमेंट को रोड सेफ्टी में दिखाए, तो क्या आपको लगता है ये नहीं सॉल्व हो सकती प्रॉब्लम? बिल्कुल सॉल्व हो सकती है, राइट? तो वो एट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन लेवल मैंने फर्स्ट हैंड एक्सपीरियंस किया है उस कमिटमेंट को फ्रॉम द लीडर्स। एंड देन ब्रेकिंग इट डाउन इनटू स्मॉलर थिंग्स, मतलब छोटी छोटी बातें जो उन्होंने, जैसे मैंने आपको दिखाया वो कार्ड, कि भैया जब आप मेरे ऑफिस में घुसो तो ये कार्ड पढ़ना है आपने, और आपने ये नोट कर लेना है कि ये सारी चीजें आपकी सेफ्टी की आपको ध्यान रखनी है। कॉन्सिक्वेंस मैनेजमेंट, अगर कभी किसी ने किसी और एम्प्लॉय को बिना सीट बेल्ट के देख लिया, या देख लिया कि वो फोन पे बात कर रहा था और गाड़ी चला रहा था, हम उसे रिपोर्ट करते हैं, वो हमारे कल्चर में है। एंड नॉट बिकॉज मुझे वो एम्प्लॉय पसंद नहीं है या वो मेरा दोस्त नहीं है, बट बिकॉज आई केयर। मुझे लगता है कि उसकी जान उतनी ही सेफ होनी चाहिए जितनी मेरी जान है। मे बी उसको अभी नहीं समझ में आया है कि उसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी उसके खुद के हाथों में है, इसलिए हम उसे रिपोर्ट करते हैं। और फिर वो उस रिपोर्ट से, मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि उसको कोई नेम एंड शेम होता, उसका लाइन मैनेजर उसको समझाता है कि भाई प्लीज आपको अपना ध्यान रखना है, एंड इफ यू डिसाइड नॉट टू फॉलो दीज रूल्स then you choose not to work for Shell. So as an organization, I think मुझे जो ये consequence management, leadership, ये जो दो चीजें दिखाई देती है, मुझे लगता है वो मैंने इस देश में अब एज कोरोना वायरस भी देख लिया है। मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि अब मैं जाके कहीं और बोलूंगी तो मैं शेल की बात करूंगी, अब मैं बात करूंगी तो मैं कहूंगी हमारी गवर्नमेंट को आपने देखा क्या लीडरशिप दिखाई कोरोना वायरस में। कोई भी प्रॉब्लम में हम लीडर्स अगर अलाइन हो जाएं तो हम प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व कर सकते हैं। एंड कॉन्सिक्वेंस क्या था इसमें कि आप अपनी जान से हाथ धो सकते हैं, राइट? यू कुड लूज योर ओन लाइफ। So those are the two principles that I'd like people to take away from this.
Thank you, Ekta, for very nicely explaining how the culture of safety is built in Shell. It reminds me that when the corporates went into the quality, initiatives, every station there was a quality manager or quality controller used to be there. But when the Japanese came with the Kaizen concept, then quality becomes responsibility of each and every individual. I see here, I think in road safety also, whatever amount of the safe product you make, whatever amount of road discipline or fines you put in because of the breakage of rules, I think road fatalities in India will not go down. The single and foremost, what you have said, wherever is will, there is a way. नेतृत्व होगा अगर लीडरशिप होगी एंड विलिंगनेस ऑफ द पीपल टू पार्टिसिपेट। सो 130 करोड़ जो कॉन्सेप्ट पांडे जी ने लाया, एक 100 करोड़ जो हमारे लोग हैं 130 करोड़, वो एक कदम चलेंगे तो हम एक्चुअली बढ़ेंगे 130 करोड़ कदम। सो आई थिंक पांडे जी, द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन गोज टू यू दैट ये ठीक है कि वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट हाउ कॉर्पोरेट कैन कंट्रीब्यूट. What does corporate get out of this initiatives? There must be their personal interest also to ensure that road safety benefits them, because corporates normally will not do out of charity. So therefore, over to you, that what does corporate gets out of this road safety initiatives and contributions?
Okay, so in two parts. First, I will compliment Ekta, congratulate her, and it's really great, Ekta. You put a very valid point. This is a golden, I'll say diamond opportunity that Corona is just in the memory of the people. And since it is so, I think road safety movement is taking a kind of a once in lifetime starting point. There's a very clear relevance of Corona and how we are dealing with Corona with road deaths, because these are both our community problems. One place spread, another place it is about culture and behavior, because culture is the biggest thing, what Mr. Banerjee also talked about. Now, can we live up to this occasion? But to do that, we need many leaders. And like Mr. Banerjee said, it has to be the willpower. I guess let's start small, but all of us start. Whoever is in this webinar, if they can take the leadership, leader doesn't mean only a company CEO will do or a corporate big guy will do. In your personal capacity, I'm doing a lot in my personal capacity. I'll tell you a leadership story. One of a very senior guy in the ministry, at one point of time, calls me in his cabin, and for next 30 minutes, he gives me a sock. Of course, currently he is not in the ministry, so I can speak about it. And it was very clear. And the first line he says, like a filmy, story, he says, "Pandey ji, आप अपनी नौकरी की चिंता कीजिए. आप कुछ नहीं बदलने वाले हैं इस देश में, और कुछ नहीं बदलने वाला है." This is typically what I used to hear from my father all the time. It is not his problem. It is the mindset of a generation which is passively, optimistic. Passively optimistic. सब कुछ खुद ठीक हो जाएगा. हमारे से थोड़े होगा. Now, that day for 30 minutes, I was just listening something which could have, and these are things which in industry can lead to, and we just heard regarding a very bad suicide case, it can demotivate you like anything. You are having a passion to do something and you get one after another certain gate which stops you. I think this is where we need group of people to stick together and say that though we are small, we can take this to a national campaign or national leadership. And whether we are corporate or an individual, we must do it. So my request will be that what Ekta just said, Corona time is a great opportunity to tell what happened. Public memory mein, for example, I will invite all of you to a campaign which we are starting called Social Distancing is known to everybody. And 2 days back, we had meeting with SIAM, ACMA, FICCI, everybody. And we were talking about, can we take social distancing relevance to traffic distancing? It is working. We just tested it on social media. Social distancing versus traffic distancing. And India, people need small micro training. So can we do that? Coming to Mr. Banerjee question, what corporates will get out of it? Why should corporate do it? To tell you very frankly, corporates are an outcome of the country culture. And believe me, our HR, respective HR in every company, wherever there is a discipline for road safety, wherever there is a follow of that culture, they get discipline into all other things. So first and foremost about vision and the culture of the organization gets shaped up by any topic. And road deaths is touching everybody. Why not start with that? There's the emotions attached to it. So first and foremost benefit HR will get. Second, I tell you today, Hella India Lighting, from a teeny organization, I was not able to attract employees at one point of time 10 years back. Today, we are one of the top 25 manufacturing company in the country. I could never believe that when I got the result. We are the great place to work. Our employee morale has gone up. It's very high. When you solve a problem which is real, employees stick together and they make extraordinary contribution to the company. I'm sure that some employees are also in the current webinar. वो भी सुन रहे होंगे. अपने आप चीजें बदलती है. तो कॉर्पोरेट के लिए जो सबसे पहला, कॉर्पोरेट के लिए, इंडस्ट्री हाउसेज के लिए सबसे पहला जो बदलाव आएगा कि इसके जो मेंबर्स हैं, they will be highly motivated, engaged, because they are going to change, or they are going to become a history maker. This is what will happen when India will definitely come down on road deaths. Second, whenever there is a business interest for a good road safety product, I think the moment we come in, is there automotive or non-automotive? There is a market there. For example, IoTs. There is a IoT which can give you driver behavior. Why insurance company cannot make their, currently IDA is doing that, user-based insurance premium. So there are certain business model which has to come into this country. I think CII, ACMA, FICCI, SIAM has to play a big role to let government decide on those. Tomorrow, if everybody who is driving bad is penalized, there'll be a change, there'll be a difference. And then there'll be a positive cultural change which we can bring. So both has to work, the pull and the push. The push will be from the government side, enforcer side, and we as a corporate citizenship, we should bring the cultural change. Thank you, Mr. Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Pandey. I think the government of India has, done the, major change in the Motor Vehicle Act. The Motor Vehicle Act, which has been passed by Parliament, has so many provisions, which enables us to, take this road safety initiatives to the next higher level. As both the speakers have spoken about how the logistic, companies, whether it's a cement companies, whether it's a oil, distribution, oil or fuel distribution companies, or for essential goods. During the COVID time, the essential goods services actually provided by the, mobility practitioners is phenomenal. So there actually the importance of road safety has got highlighted. Now Government of India has also mandated the vehicle tracking system, AIS 140 for the national permit vehicles. So I think the National Highway Act, and then there's the provision of, giving adequate facilities for highway traffic management. State governments are very keen to work towards reducing the fatalities, ITS enablement. So there are many interventions are likely to happen. I have a question to Ekta. Ekta, how do we involve actually other stakeholders in this, uh, objective of achieving improvement in the road safety?
Mr. Banerjee, that's much needed, but I don't think we've, cracked the code in terms of, telling everybody that you need to see the importance of it. So, मतलब अगर आपको जिंदगी से ज़्यादा प्यार नहीं है तो आप इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं देखेंगे, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली अगर मतलब आप देखें आज की दुनिया में आप किसी ट्रक ड्राइवर से बात करके देखिए. मैंने बहुत सारे फोकस ग्रुप डिस्कशंस करे थे ट्रक ड्राइवर्स के साथ काम शुरू करने से पहले. मतलब जब हमने आई कैंप शुरू करे तो मैंने बहुत सारे लोकेशंस पे जाके पहले उनसे बातें करी जस्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि उनकी लाइफ में होता क्या है. तो एज अ स्टेक होल्डर वो मेरे लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट स्टेक होल्डर था और मुझे लगता था कि इनको तो समझना ही चाहिए ना, इनकी लाइफ दाव पे है. अगर ये सेफली नहीं चलाएंगे तो कैसे होगा. बट उसकी गलती नहीं है. उसको क्यों नहीं समझ में आता, क्योंकि उसको दिखाई देता है कि वो जितना ज़्यादा चलाएगा एक दिन में उतना ज़्यादा पैसे कमाएगा. उसको हमने कभी रिस्पेक्ट के साथ ट्रीट ही नहीं किया है. मतलब एज अ organization, I don't say one organization hasn't treated them, but multiple organizations haven't treated them with respect. We treat them like a commodity कि ये जल्दी से वहाँ पहुँचा दो. हम एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि वो श्रीनगर से एप्पल उठा के बैंगलोर में हमें 15 दिन सड़क पे चलते हुए वो दे के जाएगा. हमने कभी नहीं सोचा कि ये काम करने के लिए the truck driver doesn't have to be married to the truck. It doesn't have to be at all be the same truck driver जो श्रीनगर से लेके बैंगलोर तक है. आज तक अभी तक ये चल रहा है. एक दो लोगों ने इसके बारे में सोचा है and they've broken the journey and they've done the relay thing कि भाई आप खाली श्रीनगर से लेके दिल्ली तक आएंगे, फिर दूसरा दिल्ली से अहमदाबाद तक जाएगा, तीसरा वहां से. इस वे में आप अपने घर भी जाते रहेंगे, आप अपनी फैमिली को भी देखेंगे every 2 days और मे बी every day if possible. तो ये जो स्टेक होल्डर को लाने की बात है ना मिस्टर बैनर्जी, मेरे लिए सबसे बड़ा स्टेक होल्डर तो ड्राइवर है. बट ड्राइवर का ध्यान कौन रखता है, आप और मैं? मतलब हमारे जैसे लोग या हमारे जैसे कॉर्पोरेट्स जो उनको एम्प्लॉय करते हैं. तो मेरे को लगता है पूरा इकोसिस्टम, आप उसको कह रहे हो सेफ चला, मेरी ये डिफेंसिव ड्राइविंग कोर्स कर ले, ये कर ले, वो कर ले, बट पैसे तभी ज्यादा मिलेंगे अगर तू जल्दी से पहुंचेगा. सो इफ यू आर इंसेंटिवाइजिंग स्पीडिंग and the rest is all just to make you look good, तो उसका कोई फायदा नहीं है. जितनी मर्जी आप ट्रेनिंग कर लो, जितनी मर्जी आप भाषण दे लो, उसका कोई फायदा नहीं है. So to get stakeholders on board, you got to understand their needs, change the processes according to their needs, and then will you see the shift in safety.
I think well said, Ekta. I think this aspect of human is missing in many of the initiatives which we try to impose, and that's where the failure happens. So with this, I think I would like to hand over the session back to host, Mr. Rausan.
I mean, can we take some more questions or you want to close?
I'm
Dipanshu?
open. We can take.
We can take some questions, sir.
Yeah, from chat.
Yeah, from chat we can take up some questions. So if you want me to iterate these questions, I can.
Yeah, that will be better because I think
I think meanwhile I'll respond to Ekta regarding the stakeholders of that because Mr. Banerjee, you asked for what should we do. I think I have an answer to that. Driver community and the transport community. I'm working with EcoGoa, AIMTC, and ITOA. I can name them because we really work very closely with these associations. There is a natural conflict. And the conflict is that they are yet to understand that when they increase the productivity by helping the driver to get a better life and actually to give them a better incentive, they don't understand the fruit of it. So there's a big cycle they have to understand, for which we need sample size and we need some best practices to be rewarded, awarded, recognized. At FICCI, we are doing that. We are giving awards for this. And next session, we are also coming up with direct driver rating award, which will be, we will get every driver rating and that transport company also will be rewarded so that they can get some benefit. But even top of that, I think Mr. Banerjee, all of us can do something, is to get the driver organized. Today, drivers are less. Still, why life of driver is not becoming better? Because drivers are not organized themselves. They are not trained themselves in a way that they become a professional body. Today, airlines has a pilot professional body. Why can't, like a chartered accountant, like a chartered technician, why can't we have a professional body of drivers? I think we should just from outside help them form it. And when they have a national body, they will command how many working hours, what kind of salary they should get, what kind of facility they should get, what kind of camera system and the IoT system they should have, and what kind of incentive system they should have. They are highly organized. Every small factory also has a union. But have you ever heard that drivers have got certain way that they can demand? AIMTC, EcoGoa or ITOA can do a strike. But drivers can never, they don't have anything to put a pressure that what they need. So somewhere I think the stakeholder will only come when we educate them and make them professional.
it's very interesting that, multiple, attempts were made to introduce the, tachograph concept where the drivers, log hour will be monitored. And one of the initiative which Ekta talked about, I think that will be a successful with this advent of ITS and mobile telephony. Rotation of the drivers with the specified hours of driving and then he gets back home, that could be a game changer. And looking at the challenge we have, we need to also be mindful that it's not the only truck drivers which need to be on focus, because if you look at the accident statistics, the two-wheelers are also very prone and pedestrians are also very prone category. So thereby it's important that a very thorough accident analysis is done, and every state, every locality, every accident prone patches will have a different solutions and different take if we have to really address the road safety concerns. So Dipanshu, could you identify some questions meanwhile?
Yes. So there is a question by Ms. Ruchika. The question is for Ekta ma'am. Ma'am, are there any key points to change the mindset of people on road?
So mindset change के लिए दो तीन चीजें चाहिए होती हैं. पहले तो आपको awareness चाहिए होती है, which is also an area which I'm working on. And मतलब बहुत सारे मेरे खुद के myths bust हुए हैं जब वो काम किया मैंने. So I used to think we started educating children. Mindset कैसे change होता है? पहले तो आपको पता होना चाहिए कि road safety क्यों important है, traffic signs क्या होते हैं वगैरह, and why it is important to follow them. हम जब स्कूलों में गए तो वी वेंट विद दिस बिलीव कि इनको बेसिक्स तो पता ही होंगे, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली नहीं पता है. हमारे स्कूलों में ट्रिग्नोमेट्री, अलजेब्रा सब कुछ पढ़ा देंगे, बट रोड सेफ्टी के बारे में कुछ नहीं बताएंगे. उनको नहीं बताएंगे कि क्यों कुछ ट्रैफिक साइंस गोल होते हैं, क्यों कुछ ट्रायंगल में होते हैं, क्यों कुछ स्क्वायर होते हैं, क्या उनमें फर्क होता है, रेड और ब्लू क्यों होते हैं, वो नहीं बताते हैं. So that's the first start, as in catch them young and educate them on the importance of road safety and why they should follow it. The second thing in mindset change is, I think for people who at least have two square meals a day, it's easy to understand the importance of safety. But for people who don't even have 2 square meals a day, this is very low on their priority. आपने Maslow's hierarchy भी पढ़ा होगा, तो safety comes after your basics are met, right? तो अगर आप बेसिक्स का पहले ध्यान रखें, उनको पहले इंसान की तरह ट्रीट करें, उनके मतलब ध्यान रखें, मतलब आप जैसे अगर आप देखो कभी हवलदार को अगर वो किसी स्कूटर वाले ने हेलमेट नहीं पहना होता है, वो उससे ऐसे बात करता है जैसे उसने मतलब वो पूरे रोड का किंग है. You know, there are times when you don't feel that I would wear a helmet just to appease him. But if you were taught that in school to wear that helmet, where you told that it was for your own head, you would understand, because you're definitely not struggling for 2 square meals a day. You are okay, you can drive a scooter and you have a helmet. But for somebody who's at the other end of the spectrum, like for example, he's a pedestrian and he's a daily wage worker and he's crossing the road without the zebra sign, then आप समझ सकते हैं कि उसके लिए वो रोड क्रॉस करना बाय हुक और बाय क्रोक, जब एक्सीडेंट मतलब वो देख नहीं रहा है हाईवे पे क्या आ रहा है क्या नहीं आ रहा है, बस उसके लिए वही इम्पोर्टेंट है, क्योंकि अगली साइड पे उसकी रोजी रोटी है. The other side of the road gives him food for his family or gives him money for his family. So बहुत this is a very complex thing जिसको बहुत thread out करना पड़ेगा. But the biggest thing that I can think of is that everywhere, whether it's a Singapore or an Australia or an America, 3 चीजें होती हैं, right? एक तो आपका infrastructure, which is your roads, the other is your vehicles, which have to be safe, and third is human behavior. Roads और vehicles में तो वो हमसे आगे हैं. Let's not try and compete right now, right? It will take time to get there. ह्यूमन बिहेवियर उन्होंने कैसे ड्राइव किया? ब्रॉडली कैरेट एंड स्टिक. या तो आप इंसेंटिवाइज करो या आप फाइन करो. अगर आप दोनों में से कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो तो हाउ आर यू एक्सपेक्टिंग ह्यूमन बिहेवियर टू चेंज? मतलब आप अगर कोई अच्छा चलाता है, जीपीएस पे दिख रहा है अच्छा चल रहा है, उसको इंसेंटिवाइज करो, या फिर अगर वो बुरा चला रहा है तो उसको स्टिक दिखाओ, उसको उसको कम पैसे मिले. यहाँ पे हम दोनों में से कुछ नहीं करते हैं. दैट्स व्हाई इट डजंट चेंज.
Thank you, Ekta. Dipanshu, you're in mute.
Sorry, I didn't realize. So thank you so much, ma'am, for a wonderful explanation. Next question goes for Mr. Banerjee or Mr. Rao or Mr. Pandey. So Abhi has asked that how government can be influenced to make the standards of vehicle high. We still do not have NCAP 5 stars car in India. People are brainwashed by the ads which are driven by automobile company, and they talk very less about safety and lives of people. SIAM, ARA and similar organizations are very low in voice and not able to push the government hard for this. In country like Norway, when population is less, 0 accidents that can be achieved. But in country like India, government needs to step up apart from community work when vehicle standards are low in India. So see ADR regulation in China and Europe, ADR regulation. And what do we have and what is the view of panel in this?
So may I take Mr.
Yeah, please, Banerjee.
Yeah,
I
think it's a very good question. The only thing is, first of all, let's understand. That's why I said we need to understand the accident pattern in the country. When we talk about NCAP rating 5 star, unfortunately, this NCAP has come from a developed country where NCAP ka full form is Car Assessment Program. Okay, whereas New Car Assessment Program, whereas predominantly if you see the pattern of percentage of vehicle, we have a 81% of two-wheeler in the country. Whereas the country from where this has come, there 99% vehicles are actually car. So always, as I mentioned, that we need to find local problems, local solution, keeping the global experiences in mind. So therefore, first and foremost is the request which has been made to the government of India is that NCAP should be changed new vehicle assessment program rather than new car assessment program. So it should not be car centric. That's point number 1. Point number 2, when you start providing all kinds of safety and make the vehicle with 9 airbags and ABS and then electronic stability systems, but you ignore the fundamental aspects of education, awareness, discipline, and traffic, knowledge, then the guy inside the vehicle will feel I am safe enough. How does it matter to me? And that's how you see the rash driving on the roads and the accidents resulting in with the pedestrian or maybe even people sleeping on the footpaths are getting killed. So the solution is not having important that NCAP rating should be done in India. Therefore, Government of India has consciously taken the call that we will ensure the mandate for all crash and active and passive safety regulations mandatorily, so that all vehicles will have that feature, so that all the vehicle standards goes up, and anybody buys any vehicle has a minimum safety standards which is essential for road safety. And that's how the NCAP relevance in India got gradually diluted, and therefore this market skewing tendencies of independent agency doing a testing and letting the customer make a choice of vehicle, well-informed choice of purchase of vehicle, is not compromised by giving a basic minimum standards. So this is another part. So therefore, it's very important for us to ensure that, as everybody has said, in fact, if you look at there have been award given to Government of India, particularly Mr. Nitin Gadkari and Mr. Damle, by the NCAP agency, that India has actually migrated the best standards in the globe. And just to inform all the members present here, there is a big discussion happening under the Sustainable Transport Safety Initiatives of the United Nations. And there is a discussion going on between OICA, that is the World's Manufacturers Organization, that how do we improve safety in the developing countries. And all of them in one voice is agreeing that once the minimum safety standards are mandated, then the market skewing this testing of NCAP rating 4-star, 5 stars are no longer relevant. So therefore, my submission is that, as Mr. Pandey also alluded and very clearly said, that be it a two-wheeler, be it a four-wheeler, be it a truck and bus, there are enough safety standards matching to the global standards. But beyond that, we also need to be mindful that any intervention which government is going to take further is really going to make any difference in the road safety. That needs to be very, very calculated, assessed properly, and then gone for next level of safety interventions. So over to you, Mr. Pandey, if you can.
I just want to add one comment. Upanshu, I just want to add to what Mr. P.K. Banerjee said. I just want to clarify that as far as the safety norms are concerned, what our passenger vehicles be are at par with what is there in developed countries like Europe, etc. And NCAP rating is not a mandatory requirement anywhere in the world. It is a car assessment program to highlight how different competitive models stand with reference to the accident behavior. So it's not a mandatory requirement. So, I mean, we should understand that, because the question says that why government is not making NCAP as a mandatory thing. This is not mandatory anywhere in the world.
Okay, I will just do a Zoom experiment here, just to let all of us understand and get convinced. People who are on the call now, can you put on your chat box, who will put the first? I will give maybe a hella horn immediately will be shipped to you, will contact you. And somebody who gives the next 2-3 answers, something you'll get an award or a reward. In most of the cars, you have got a switch called 0, 1, 2, 3. Can you just write what do you do with that switch? It's a mandatory standard since long. Can you quickly write what does it do? You have to be very specific. There's a switch called 0, 1, 2, 3. I know it is about the headlight adjustment. How does it work? Do you know? Do you use it? And be very honest. If you use it, put yes and put for what you use it. We will make, in chat we are getting everybody writing now. Yeah. So light adjustment we know, but how does it does the adjustment? More passenger? No, sorry. Very nice. High, mid, low is also fine, but it is not giving you any result because you have to use it. If you use it, you'll answer immediately. People are not using it. You have a standard, you have paid for it. Hella has earned money out of it. You're not using it. Very clear. 90% people I ask, they don't use it. So what I always say, standard. India is on a world standard. There are two problems. One, awareness, what Mr. Banerjee said, we must use it. And that's why the driver training comes into play. The vehicle training also has to be there in driver training. Second, today, do you know that most of the trucks which is killing people or you just see on the highway, their lights are not certified? Do you know this information? That today when the vehicle goes to fitness, more than 92% vehicle fails because of that government has to bend the rule. Standard is there, but government has bent the rule. Many people, this is a news, that more than 90% trucks light does not pass. And because of that, the certification regime has given a bending rule to it and they are passed without light check. And you can ask the RTUs for it, right? Now tell me what more standard you need. Thank you, Dipansh.
Thank you so much. So I guess we have so many questions with us today. People are still writing their questions, and it's very sure that we are not going or we are not able to answer all these questions today on this session. But what we assure you is that if our honorable speakers and moderator and host agree for that, if we can forward these questions to you people, and if you would be willing to answer these questions, because these people have taken out time from their schedule to hear you people. So I'll just forward these questions to you, and then we'll forward the answers to these people. Before closing, I'll just go on to the last question that was asked recently. So, sir, many people have answered your question. So I
saw that.
People are
I
still
saw
writing.
that you have to send me the chat result, and I will honor that person because we are coming up with a campaign now.
Just do a minor edit so that I can write my name out there, and I also get something.
Yeah, why not? Conditions applied. Conditions applied. But Dipanshu, on that note, I have something to announce that people who are good in training and understanding the vehicle, understanding the road safety, please come forward. We are coming up with a train the trainer program. The ambition is to train 1 million driver, not by a classroom training, but a digital Zoom meeting like this. We want multiple Zoom meeting to happen as a chain reaction. Once we are all part of it, we will start maybe by 1st of July. Ekta, you'll also be introduced to this topic, which is about simple topics like traffic distancing, simple topic like slow down. The campaign name is Duri Hai Jaruri. We all can do that, and you all on the chat who are there, please participate. You can change the country. Come forward.
Sure. So before we close this session, I would just like to go back to the question which is asked by Mr. Amit Khatri. And this is one of my favorite questions that everyone asks, that if Indian roads do not have a speed limit more than 100, then why are the vehicles, why vehicles are being built for a speed limit of 200 or 240 or 280? So why we still manufacture these cars? So I'm still looking for this answer. We have asked these questions to everyone, bureaucrats, corporate leaders, UN leaders, everyone. So
I have a funny answer. I know the technical answer Mr. Banerjee can give you. Yeah. Suppose you have 2 child. Do you go for family planning surgery, or you even if you don't plan for a 3rd child or 4th child or a 5th child, do you really stop it? Just because we don't have good culture, good roads and good society, should India be not on a technology level, a class, a world class, but it actually says a control regime? It is not going to work. Everybody will find a way how to increase the speed. You will see that. The jugaad will happen.
So I just to give a response to the question, I think first and foremost, Mr. Rajiv Bajaj once stated actually, the speed control should be in mind, not on the vehicle. The first point is that. And second, if you see the, accident statistics, the rash driving does not mean that in an empty highway, you are driving at the speed of 120. The rash driving means that in a, very crowded marketplace, you are driving at 25 kmph. So therefore, speed has nothing to do with the accidents. It has to do with the rash driving. And that's where we have to be very, very mindful what the rash driving means. Rash driving at 25 kmph in a hilly bend is a rash driving, but 25 kmph at a plane may not be the case. So therefore, rash driving is a contextual, situational and location specific and the road condition specific. So therefore, I think the limits of the progress and the challenge of engineering should not be contained by the regulations. It should be contained by the awareness, knowledge, and careful applications of that knowledge. Today, if we have something, somebody says that why Einstein developed the atom bomb. Okay, it's a hindsight. You can say that yes, for power generation, it's a very good thing. But the Hiroshima and Nagasaki is not needed. So it's something like that. Okay.
Yeah, but it's like the fan is responsible for the suicide. Remove all fans in every home.
So I hope you have got the Panchu some answer to that.
Yeah. So thanks a lot for that. So before we close the session, I would like to go back to all speakers, moderator, and host for your 30-second remarks for our audience. So our audience consists of students, corporate leaders, civic body leaders, and we also have some people from government, polices, and transport department. So what are your final concluding remarks? So we can start with Mr. Banerjee. 30 seconds for our audience.
I think all of us have come to one fact, a convergence of one fact, that road safety cannot be achieved without involvement of all of us. So whether it's policymakers, regulators, transport officials, traffic inspectors, drivers, the vehicle manufacturers, road engineering constructors, emergency last golden mile, support provider. So one thing has happened which is very good. All of us have realized that it's a collective social responsibility. And that's where I think all your presence today has made the difference, that some bit of knowledge and experience, whatever we have gathered, if you apply and if you share with our near and dear ones, I think collectively only we can overcome this menace. And I believe the mood is right, the understanding has come, and people have started realizing that in this corona pandemic period that we live together and we stand together.
Sure. Ms Ekta Kumar.
Thanks, Panchu, for firstly this opportunity for curating these events, because it's such a pleasure to listen to all the other, co-panelists, Mr. Banerjee, Mr. Rao as well, and their thoughts, and learn from that. Broadly, since your topic is role of corporates, I'd like to kind of just bring us back to the fact that something again Corona pandemic has taught us. We have a lot of technology in this world. We need to leverage that technology to make ourselves smarter and safer. The safest journeys are the ones that haven't been taken. And because of coronavirus, no CTO, no CEO, nobody was able to tell us that, you can work from home. But the pandemic told us that you can be equally efficient and you can do the same amount of work from home. You just brought down the cars on the road. You just brought down the accidents on the road. Yeah? So there's a big role that corporates can play by leveraging technology, by changing their policies. And I think there's a big role that all of us can play by following through on some of those things, by adopting those rules, by making it a part of our growing up years, by teaching our children the importance of it. So it is, I don't think I can agree more with Mr. Banerjee. It's a collective social responsibility. But corporates have the responsibility of bringing in the technology innovation. They have the responsibility of building that ecosystem that tells their third parties, that tells their employees, I care for your safety more than speed. And last but not the least, it's our own individual responsibility.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Mr. Pandey.
Yeah, I think before I go, I see a lot of time Mr. Amit is putting speed is a problem. I must confirm, yes, speed is a problem. We are not talking about vehicle speed. We are talking about the feeling of speed in the mind of Indian people is a problem. So I agree with you, and don't worry, we all agree that high speed is a biggest killer, and that's where the rash driving Mr. Banerjee put you through. From my side, Corona, we are able to fight and probably much safer, and all of us in this room as well in this digital room, because the collective wisdom is traveling faster than the coronavirus. Now, let us take this to the road crash problem. And just like an infected person is spreading, let's divide the country into two kind of people. One who are for safer road, one who are against. Now, if we can all in this room and all the audience, if we can take side, just first step, not many steps, just first step from that Lakshman Rekha to the side which is going to safeguard the country on road safety, it will be good enough. And that's why I always say, jab hum badlenge to desh badlega. So then we can tackle all the infected people. Just like virus, we have infected people. Today, maybe a billion Indian is infected, and we may be only 100 or 200, but I think we can spread faster. And as long as our collective wisdom is traveling faster than the other side and the other kind of mentality, we will win. And that's why your role is very important. You have taken the first step. You are together here. Don't underestimate your power. You can go on Twitter, Facebook, wherever. In a day, you can channelize the country. You know, some of the major campaign, billion of tweets happens with some 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 people. You can be part of that. Together, we can make a big difference. Jab hum badlenge to desh badlega. Thank you.
Just one clarification I want to give to Amit. Then why government fix speed control devices? Just to give you answer, there is a very active consideration now that with introduction of AIS 140 vehicle tracking system, where the driver's behavior can be easily monitored, the speed control devices will go away. So it's a matter of time only. There is active consideration that the speed fixed devices will be go away from the vehicles.
Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Rao, if you want to add on to this.
Yeah, I think we had a real excellent, exciting discussion among the panelists about the role of corporates in safety. I fully agree with the panelists that it's a collaborative effort which is required. All the stakeholders to play their bit.
Right.
As mentioned, the vehicle technology, the roads, the traffic control, and traffic need to be managed better to actually make to achieve a smooth flow of vehicles. And also the awareness of the road users, not only the vehicle users, but also the road users have to improve, because many of the road users do not know what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to respond to various signals at the crossings, and when they're crossing the roads, when they're supposed to do it and when they are not supposed to do it. And I very strongly believe that for all this, we should work on bringing in a social change in how people respond to various things. I think that is the basic thing, because somehow I get a feeling that we don't want to follow what is told to us, and we want to defy. That way of reaction of people needs to be changed, and we should get to a situation where people try to comply with the requirements. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So with this, we would like to close this session. And before we close, we would like to thank our speakers, moderator, and host for the session, Mr. Ivy Rao, Mr. PK Banerjee, Ms Ekta Kumar, and Mr. Pandey. So it was indeed a great session wherein we discussed a lot of things, and a lot of questions are still unanswered, and we would definitely want you to answer those questions, because so that we can forward it to our audience. So we'll definitely share a document with you wherein you can write your answers and we can share it back with the audience. And so I and we at IRSC they definitely believe that yes, road safety or any other social issue, we believe that if community-led actions only can solve the issue. Just like there is corona, there are so many issues our country is already facing. So road safety is also a shared responsibility which each and every one of us has to understand and has to accept that yes, we all have to come together and work. And rather than we think that yes, no, nothing can change, we need to think that yes, things can change and we only can change these things. So with this, I would like to thank all of you, all the audience, all the people those who have taken our time on a Sunday evening and every time you join in for the session. I believe that we all have learned something today again. And thanks a lot. I'll see you next Sunday. We'll see you next Sunday, 4 p.m. Till then, stay safe. Thank you so much,
Thank you
everyone.
very much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
PK.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you, Ramesh.
Thank you so
Bye.
much, everyone.
Thank you, Ekta. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks. Thanks, Rao sir. Bye.
Thank you.